Hi, my name is Gigi, and this is my first video. I'm posting this because I am kind of baffled by what's happening within this whole manifestation community world thing. There's a splitting off of one to another. So they got the law of attraction and they got the law of assumption. And when you ask anybody, it becomes a thing of controversy. If you go into any Facebook groups and you try to ask people why is there a difference, what's going on, can you explain, you get booted out, you shut up, you get basically just like what religions have done. Just don't ask any questions, just understand that this is it, don't go beyond that. A lot of the times because they don't know themselves. So there's a lot of people that are teaching, and they're teaching based off of this lady that did The Secret and some stuff from Neville Goddard. And by the way, Neville Goddard understood all of this, but he created a world of a way of speaking so that you can understand rather than what they were doing in the Bible. So these two things, these two entities are of the one, the Hermetic Principles. And the Hermetic Principles are from Greece, but they got it from Egypt. And anybody that has written any books in like the 1800s or whatnot talking about this, they will acknowledge all this, that these laws are from Egypt. And there are 7 main ones, just like there are 7 colors in the rainbows and that in the rainbow, and that there are 7 continents, and there's 7 days in the week, and there are 7 notes on a scale, but you call it an octave because you include that same one from the do, the low do and a high do. And of these 7, you make a world of amazing things. So in the rainbow, you will not see aqua, but in those 7 colors, you can make aqua. Okay, I'm saying this because of these two entities, the law of attraction and the law of assumption, there are 7 main principles. Okay, and I'm going to tell you these 7 main principles. They are called, I'm reading them off the list because I want you guys to know this. The first one, the principle of mentalism. Then there's principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, principle of cause and effect, and the principle of gender. Okay, all of these are all combined into what they call a cute little package called the law of attraction. The law of attraction right here. This is this one box. And then people are saying, no, forget about the law of attraction. This is the law of assumption. And using the law of assumption, you're still using the same principles, the same ones, but you're just not naming them those principles. As a matter of fact, the principle, the law of assumption is actually the principle of polarity. The law of assumption was created by Neville Goddard for people to understand the law of liberty that was written in the book, which again, in the book called the Bible, which again is taken from the Hermetic, and that's the principle of polarity, okay? These principles have been passed on for eons and eons and have been renamed, repackaged, refurbished, but they all still remain the same 7. And then they expound off into other ones. Oh, what about the law of the money and the law of this? They're all coming from those 7. And then they expound. And these laws are not linear. They are not linear. The law of the principle of mentalism does not start out just your thoughts create reality, because that's what that is. That's an acknowledgement of that. It goes way deeper. This is where people are trying to understand what consciousness is. It's so in depth that it will make your mind frazzled, especially if you just want to get your specific person or you just want to get that thing. I'll forget all this. I just want this. But the thing is, you want to know the ingredients to these other things so that you can get them without having to pay anybody or figure it out or understand or be riddled with anxiety and not know how to get beyond it. These things are extremely important for you to know and understand. But if you're not there, no problem. But just to shoo it away and push it onto the table is very unwise. As well as to shut somebody out for asking questions about it. You're not being any better than any of the religions that do that. Don't ask any questions, just believe in this thing. Stop it. Or just trust the science. Why are you doing that? You've heard that before? So the thing is, you don't want to just take anybody's word for it. You want to learn and read for yourself. If you really want to know how to get those things and not get tripped up by these other things, you don't really want to rely on somebody else to tell you about it. Please don't believe anything I'm saying. Just find out for yourself. And there are ways that you can find these out. This book right here, The Kybalion from the Three Initiates, you can find out those 7 laws, those 7 principles, and understand them so that you can dissect and use them for yourself and not have to ever go to anybody and ask any questions ever again. Because then you understand what is going on with the anxiety and the fear and whatnot. The Bible was also really good, but if you do not understand and are able to dissect and understand the principle of gender, I wonder if I said that, because that's one of the main 7 ones, the principle of gender, then you're definitely not going to understand the Virgin Mary. You know, they try to explain it in there in that way. And by the way, the Bible explained things for people at that time the way that they spoke. Just like a rap song or whatnot has all these codes and all that kind of stuff that we listen to right now, we do the same thing. Even when you're sending a text message and you're talking to people, you send them with emojis and you say LOL, you get that, you understand that. But if you go 100 years from now, they're going to be like, I have no idea what that is. These people were crazy. And if you went in the past and you asked those people if they understood what those things were, they would just be like, that's beyond, that's not even in existence. What are you talking about? So we all make languages for our time. So when we, as current modern thinking people, reflect and go into the Bible and listen and read what they're saying, we cannot understand a lot of their jargon. It just doesn't make sense. It's not going to make sense to us. Now, top that off with the Bible was written by mystics for mystics to understand. It wasn't, not everybody was able to read. It wasn't that way. And the way that religion works is that is kind of more like, hey, you just listen to what I'm saying. You don't have to worry about what's going on in this book, and I'll just explain it to you. Just that's it. Just follow it this way. And then you become extremely reliant upon it, and then you don't know who you are. And then they tell you to believe in something outside of yourself. And then you cannot get the answers unless you go to this outside source. And that's me. And you can pay me for a certain price. Now, people would be like, oh, that's not how the churches are. Okay, if you ever travel around the world and you see how much wealth the church and other religions have, you would start to understand, whoa, there's a whole lot going on here that I was not aware of. And now that I'm seeing this and I know the answers for myself, I don't have to rely upon this outside source. So with that being said, I'm going to tell you that the law of attraction and the law of assumption, again, are the same things. If you're saying your thoughts create reality, you're talking about the principle of mentalism. If you're saying that everyone is you pushed out, you're talking about the principle of correspondence. If you're saying, let's just assume this, then you're talking about the principle of polarity. Neville Goddard himself actually says in one of his books, because I have the big compilation, that the law of assumption is the law of liberty. And that law of liberty actually is the principle of polarity. They took it out of the Hermetic Principles and put it into that book, and he understood it and regurgitated it. And all those laws that I mentioned, the principle of gender, again, talking about the Virgin Mary, that's one aspect of it because it goes in depth. But if you have a thinking mind and you have emotion, then you have the principle of gender that you're utilizing unbeknownst to yourself. If you are ever talking about raising your frequencies, which I think the people who are into the law of attraction talks about, that's vibration. And the law of assumption, people are like, yeah, but you don't have to be happy. And you don't. Yeah, don't. It's just trying to explain the science behind those principles to help you get to where you want to. If you were ever talking about, oh, I have to get my routine up, I got to do this, that, to change this, I'm going to start meditating at this time and doing that, you're observing and utilizing the principle of rhythm. You're using all of these principles at all times. I am so tired of seeing people elude, evade, just kind of dismiss and run around questioning, I don't know, I don't understand. But when you put it to their face, they just kind of like, they don't want to admit it, or they don't want to hear it, or I don't know what it is, but this is it. You need to understand that these laws are like gravity. They are here, and you don't have to understand them, or you don't have to believe in them, but they do exist. And the more you understand these laws, just like you understand the laws of gravity, you understand how and when to use them for yourself. You're becoming a mental alchemist. You're becoming a mental magician. This is what that whole thing is about. When you are jumping from one end of the pole to the other, you're assuming. But sometimes to go from the sad to happy, it is a bit hard. You can just stabilize yourself in the middle. This is what these things are for you to understand, so that you're going to understand how to manifest beyond anxiety and fear. And the reason why you hear over and over again, if you're about, Christianity, fear ye not, is for these reasons, because you will manifest the things that you do not want. If you're going to tap into your subconscious mind, aka the feminine mind, you must understand that as the masculine impregnating the feminine has no choice but to listen and produce in massful amounts. It's just ample amounts. This is how all this works. I am really hoping that somebody out there in this world is hearing this, and they're curious, and I encourage you to be curious and question. Don't believe a word I'm saying. Please, don't believe me. Don't believe a word I'm saying. Find out for yourself. One of the good books to start at is the Kybalion, like I showed you before, from the 3 initiates. Find out about it for yourself. Study. Do not just hear it. Be ye doers of the word, not just hearers. Be ye doers of the words. And how do you do that? By trial and error, and reading and learning, and trying and persisting and persist, because you're doing it all the time anyway. So why not do it and learn it for it to happen in your favor? Why not learn the rules of life so that you can manifest and do it on purpose and in your favor? And with that, I am done, and I hope that somebody receives this. Not I hope, I intend that somebody receives this. Please like this. Please share this. Please. Ask any questions. I'm not afraid to answer any questions. If I don't know the answer, I will tell you right away, I don't know the answer. But question everything, you guys. Question.